Praise be to Jesus. Well, hello everyone. It's Tuesday afternoon here on the 21st of August. Well, I've been speaking with someone in the comment section, and the person turns out to be a priest. So I listened to pretty much what he had to say. Um, and he's saying there's a whole nother side to this that the grand jury report from Pennsylvania is almost completely fabricated, that there's really no truth in it. I don't know. I don't know. I want to be careful here. He might have said there may be a little bit of truth in it. I'm not sure. Um, you know, but for the most part, this is like a something that's fabricated, and it's part of an agenda, which I believe. Now, I don't know if he said this exactly because we had, he's really written a lot of material, and I can't remember if I exactly read this, but apparently and I've talked about this before, that there's an agenda. Not only in the United States, but like in Australia with Cardinal Pell, to persecute the church, to bring down the Catholic Church, and in fact to bring down all of Christianity, because it's so opposed to the kind of world that non-believers are creating. It's like we're the enemy, and they want to eliminate us. So, I'm going to leave a link in the description box about a report that's been written. Now, it gets into a lot of specific things, which, I don't know. I mean, I don't have time to read all this. If you want to take the time, you can do that. I think what I'd like to say about this is that it makes one comment pretty quickly, that there are no charges that have come out of this, at least not to this point. All right, and a lot of this stuff is old, which it is, and I believe what people in the church are saying, cardinals and bishops and priests, that the vast majority of this has been corrected, and it doesn't really. I mean, it's going to occur occasionally, but not like it did. Okay, so I think probably what's going on here is that the um, this Mr. Shapiro from Pennsylvania is taking the lead with an axe to grind with Catholicism, and he's using all this old material to really try to find out if any crimes by the hierarchy have been committed. In other words, have they withheld evidence that that by law they have to bring to the attention of the police? Have they reassigned a priest without good cause? In other words, just to sort of get rid of them, to another state. I think that's some kind of interstate transfer of a person who might be under criminal investigation or something. I mean, I don't know. I think that's where this RICO, the federal government's looking into this RICO thing. Um, and who knew what and when, and I don't know that any grand jury or any prosecutor can ever really figure all that out. I think we just assume that since they spent 2 years on this, that the report is really, really very accurate, and that isn't necessarily the case. I mean, it's supposed to be. I mean, I'll read this to you here. In theory, a grand jury is supposed to examine evidence to determine whether a crime took place and should be prosecuted. This was clearly not the intention of Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro. In an 800 plus page screed, Shapiro's report and yes, it's really Shapiro's report, not a grand jury report. Does not recommend a single criminal charge because almost all the accusations are many decades old. The fact that countless tax dollars and unlimited government resources were expended on this escapade, while giving far more recent abuse in public schools and the Boy Scouts and other organizations a complete pass, should raise serious questions about Shapiro's true motives. All right, and so there are I asked the priest to send me a couple of articles that defend Cardinal Wuerl. All right. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this right off the bat or not, but it's important that both Cardinal Burke and Bishop Morlino have basically said that there is a homosexual culture in the Catholic Church. And I believe, I'd have to go back and look at the articles again, but I believe that they're also talking about into the hierarchy of the church. Now, that doesn't mean that any of the hierarchy are practicing homosexuals. I think what they were driving at was that they were saying that there are cardinals and bishops that support the homosexual agenda, that are involved with promoting the homosexual agenda. Whatever, we're just calling it a homosexual agenda, I mean, that's not being very specific, but, um, it's all pretty complicated, obviously. Well, this is, I mean, this article isn't too long, and there is a part two to it. So, I mean, just in all fairness, if you're interested in looking at this, now, I asked the priest I've been talking to send me a couple other articles. He sent me one that had to do with Cardinal Pell, and that's. I mean, I just mentioned Cardinal Pell, but that's not what we're dealing with here. Um, I mean, I know that Cardinal Wuerl has a lawyer on this case. So, I mean, all this is not over with. Obviously, it can change at any point in time. Um, but I mean, in all fairness, I mean, I understand that, I mean, there could be some trumped up charges here because there's an agenda, obviously. Although, personally, at this point in time, I find it very hard to believe that there's no truth in this at all. Um, they say they have the documentation of Cardinal Wuerl doing and saying some things, and based on that, the Attorney General Shapiro is saying that he's not telling the truth. In other words, he's calling him a liar. And, you know, um, so perhaps the priest I'm talking to will send me something that I can give you a link to. I'll make another video. And you can read. I mean, other than just empty words from Cardinal Wuerl, I mean, read really something substantial. Um, because, I mean, the grand jury report, I think, is online, the whole thing. And if it's not, it will be because it's a public document. And, him and his lawyer or lawyers and whoever else wants to can see exactly because Mr. Shapiro was very specific about what he was referring to when he was talking about he lied about this and he lied about that. So we can wait to hear from Cardinal Wuerl, um, about what he's got to say about this. Now, whether or not the cardinal is going to resign or not, I put up something just a few hours ago. Apparently, he had a meeting with some senior staff people in the diocese, and of course, that could be a lie. I mean, I would say that Cardinal Wuerl, if you are innocent, don't you dare, don't you dare um, give the, I mean, give in to the lies here. You need to stand firm and defend yourself. Um, and because people, if you resign, people are just going to see that as an admission of guilt, which it may not be, but I mean, we're really, this is really a tough situation. Anyway, here, so if you want to look at this report here, I'm going to leave the link. And then, it says click here for part two, so you can, continue with that. And then, if the priest I've been talking to sends me some other things here, I'll post those for you. All right, well, enjoy your day or evening, and we'll talk to you next time.